Invictus Vikings, welcome back to the Slavicus Maximus channel, and welcome back to the Total Fall of the Samurai Netherlands campaign playthrough, where we are currently engaged in a massive war against the United Kingdom over here. And over the break, I captured Izumo, so now we have a continuous front line with the British, and we are ready to strike on all fronts against them. So let's start marching against Mimasaka. Let's use these three armies to march against Harima over here. And let's bring all of our armies to bear against them. I have an assassin over here. We have engaged in quite a bit of agent warfare here with the British over the break-in recording, so that's quite interesting. They have a lot of courtesans, a lot of military advisors, a lot of agents around, so lots of action on that front. Not so much on the actual warfare. I even had a peace deal with them for about 5 turns, then they declared war on me. But there we go. Let's get a new general going, since the British actually managed to assassinate one of my generals, and we can actually hire a drill sergeant and another assassin so that we can even have an agent presence here up in the north. Let's enter and let's see what the British do. I have another general coming, obviously. There we go. The British are activating their fleets. They obviously have supremacy when it comes to the ocean. I have 0 ships, which, you know, the Netherlands had quite a lot of ships actually in history, but I decided to just not engage with the naval warfare side of things this time. It's just not worth it. It doesn't produce any kind of value to me. There we go. There's a military advisor. Let's try and enchant him. Maybe we could get him on our side. Enemy enchanted. There we go. We have a new agent over here. We denied the British their agent. We have a new agent. There's an enemy assassin. Let's try enemy wounded. Very cool. So we are making solid progress over here. And another one to subterfuge when assassinating. Let's get a volcanic pistol. And let's do an assassin. We're mostly using the assassin as, surprisingly enough, an assassin. So just using him to clear out enemy agents. Nothing really too surprising about that, I hope. But let's march on and let's try and... Ooh, the enemy actually has quite an advantage. So we are not going to pursue this battle. In fact, I am recruiting some extra units over here. So let's increase the rate of recruitment. Let's get another courtesan. Let's bring these agents to the front line. Let's repair the citadels that we captured. And can't really repair that one. But you can see the northern flank of the British is actually quite undefended. There isn't quite a lot of stuff here. Mimasaka being the obvious exception. I think the enemy is going to sally out, and then when they sally out, we'll have a clear advantage against them. That's probably what's going to happen. As you can see, the British have a lot of courtesans all around the place. So there we go, a nice little battle. So let's drop a quick save, and let's finally in this campaign actually have a field battle. Alright, here we are on the battlefield. Very foggy, rainy, everything is going miserably, but as we can see on the minimap here, our reinforcements will be coming from our back, so we should probably try and unite our forces. So let's deploy in the back like so. Since we are on the defensive, let's enable the Needle Fire and Toggle Rank Fire ability, so we should put down more lead when it comes to facing our opponents. And here comes the reinforcing army, all of them coming in very slowly. And I think what we'll do is actually reinforce. Let's see, what kind of map are we looking at? The enemy over here, Sepoy infantry, very cool looking. But we are obviously, as per usual, when I play these campaigns, we might want to do, since there's a lot of flat ground over here, is deploy actually over here and then use this army as a possible flanking possible flanking force we might want to do is actually with the general over here do something like this just to preempt any sort of flank attempt by the enemy, but ultimately let's just wait for the enemy to arrive. But in the meantime, we can take a look at the colonial infantry of the Dutch. Very Napoleonic looking still, kind of the remnants of the Napoleonic era, as you can see, but they look mighty cool. Not the best. I think the Prussians actually look the best out of all of our campaigns. And the Americans and the British were also cool looking, but these guys are also very cool looking. The enemy over here has some Royal Marines, so let's take a look at them. Again, very Napoleonic looking. So the enemy is taking a sweet time, but it's all the better for us, because by the time they actually reach our lines, they're going to be mighty tired out. There they have some riflemen over here. They have some Royal Marines, some Sepoy infantry, volunteer infantry even, Gurkha riflemen, some colonial Black Watch, the Scottish troops, some colonial Sutherland Highlanders, and it's all going to get crushed by the simple combination of volunteer infantry and colonial infantry. Some of the lowest tier units, but they're going to crush this mighty host of the enemy. There we go. The enemy should be in range of our troops right about now. Yep, there we go. Our guys are starting to fire upon the enemy, doing some nice damage. Here, this flank, not really engaged. We might want to actually move it up a tiny bit, since it's a little out of the way right now. So let's do something like this, just to get it a little bit more into the battlefield, onto the front lines. The Royal Marines still walking forward, no sign of any sort of hesitation. Very cool, very cool. But the enemy seems to be advancing in sort of a column. I'm not entirely sure what that strategy is about. We'll just have to see how it pans out for them. We can see the flank over here filled with volunteer infantry, with colonial infantry, finally beginning to fire upon the Royal Marines. Some of the better troops in the roster of the British, I do believe. They obviously have some very elite units over here, like the colonial Black Watch. There were some colonial Sutherland Highlanders. Obviously, they even have some colonial foot infantry, obviously, but they have some Coldstream Guards. Absolutely insanely expensive unit, very advanced unit, obviously, compared to our army, which is mostly just colonial infantry. A very low tier infantry army we are running, but honestly, with my experience in this mod, it doesn't really matter. The colonial infantry is just good enough, and so if it's good enough, then why would we change it? But you can see the enemy is advancing kind of in a scattered way. We are definitely enveloping the enemy. No real reason why we should change any of that. Let's not enable suppression fire, but let's advance with our flanking units over here. Not going to activate the general, even going to disable fire at will from him and move him to the back, because it seems like that unit won't necessarily need to get activated at all. The enemy is advancing forward, still advancing forward in a very slow, piecemeal fashion. Volunteer infantry up there is getting absolutely hammered, but we'll just have to see what comes of the little British advance. They don't seem to be employing very threatening tactics at all. They seem to be just sort of swerving about, Empire Total War style. This battle, honestly, is a little bit of a slaughter. And there we go, it is a victory, no sweat, nothing like that. One of our units got routed because they got melee charged and they decided to advance forward, so that's but as you can see from the casualties over here, down here, we didn't really suffer that much, that's for sure. There we go, decisive victory. We fielded 4,530 and lost 203 men. The enemy lost the entirety of their army, 3,144. Entire army completely obliterated. So the city should be free for the taking. Yep, there we go. Peacefully occupy. The city is ours. And alright, with that front being secured, the middle over here, Mimasaka being captured, we can probably use one of these armies to reinforce the north and one of these armies to reinforce the south. Here we see the city of Setsu very heavily fortified, Tamba relatively unfortified, Tajima has a small military presence. We really put a big damper on the British armed presence here. And we can now continue advancing with the northern armies. These guys can't even reach, very sad, but this single army should be able to take care of business. Bam, there we go, Inaba captured. Can repair the citadel. So you can see the front line advancing very heavily. We captured Harima, Mimasaka, Inaba. Next is going to be Tajima, Tamba, Sanda, Setsu, obviously. And pretty soon we are going to reach the easternmost provinces of the former Empire of Britain, or the territory that was formerly held by the British, up until we managed to dislodge them. As you can see, the front line has moved quite a bit. Quite a big war this one is. It's going to be the same when we take on the United States, and it's even going to be the same when we take on the Prussians and then maybe the French. Although it seems like the Prussians and the French are actually at war with each other. Yes, the Prussians and the French are at war with each other. So we'll see who comes out on top here. Honestly, it would be interesting to finally fight against France. We haven't really had the opportunity to do so in these campaigns in Total Follow the Samurai, so that would be quite interesting. But yeah, so far just marching through the British. Obviously we're going to sweep as much as possible. Yamashiro is right here as the sort of center point of the Japanese Isles, more or less. So yeah, we are well, we aren't quite halfway done. We are about a quarter way there, if I'd have to guess, because remember we still have to also capture the island of Shikoku, although I suspect that one's going to be quite easy. The British even have the island of Awaji, so they have quite a military presence here, so that's going to be quite interesting. So yeah, the battle is still ahead of us. There's quite a lot of fighting to do, quite a lot of capturing, and still a lot of work to do until we capture the entirety of Kyushu, Shikoku, and Honshu Islands, the entirety of the Japanese mainland, or the biggest islands. We are not going to go for Hokkaido over here in the north, because, well, I just don't feel like it. Don't feel like building a navy, really. But anyway, thanks, Kings, for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and please like and subscribe, and see you next time. Yeah, see you next time.